Warning, this podcast contains spoilers. What's up, everyone, and welcome to the As Seen on TV podcast for Gotham Season 1, Episode 1 Pilot. What a very creative name. I'm your host, Dom. With me are my co-hosts, Omikins. Rocking out to the music.
Yeah, the music was amazing. Wow.
It was. Mike.
We can totally hear.
Yeah.
Shh.
Hi.
Shh.
I just turned up the stream to hear the music again.
Excellent. Excellent. And Clio.
Hello! Mike, stop stealing my bit.
Aw, you noticed.
I
What?
can fucking see you
I
right
know.
there.
Well, I was hoping you were too distracted with holding up the little doll of whatever the hell that was.
Oh, as soon as I saw you hold it up, I put it down.
I know, and then I put it down. I'm not trying to steal your thunder.
What were you guys even holding up? I saw a D12.
I
That's a
panicked
D20.
and grabbed
D20.
the closest thing.
And what even is that?
That's a Digimon.
Oh,
Don't judge me.
gotta
Digimon.
catch them all.
What was your...
Gotta delete them all? Like, I don't know.
Liars. Could have held them up.
You're not that far off.
No? Okay. So, how are you guys tonight?
Good.
A measuring cup.
Peachy.
Hi, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Okay, so we have a new show, Gotham.
Yeah.
Just aired Monday.
Yeah.
What were you guys' initial impressions on it? Omi, go last.
Okay, I'm waiting.
My initial impression of Gotham. Pre-episode, it's going to be Batman without Batman. I wonder how that's going to be. During show, like, alright, I like it. You know, some of these characters are interesting. Post-show, I need to give it 3 or 4 more episodes before rendering final judgment. It has potential. I'll say that much. Lot of nice little Easter eggs in there. A couple little bits I caught from previous Batman movies, like homages to them. Like the way Martha Wayne's pearl necklace fell, like in fucking Batman Forever 60 fucking times throughout the movie.
Yeah. Cleo, what were your opinions?
Go for it.
The face says it all. Omi. No, I'm kidding. Go
There
ahead.
are a lot of things that I am looking forward to in the season. The episode wasn't good. I didn't think the episode was very good. But the characters, I'm very jazzed for. All of the characters, I'm very excited about.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, listen, Batman's origin story is the one that's done the most.
It is.
It
Could
is
have done
It
so
is, but it
much
isn't.
more.
It is, but
with
it
the
isn't.
Waynes.
We really have not seen this era, this timeline in the Batman universe. We've seen snippets, but we've not seen the extent of this to let it grow.
I know.
So
We've seen the murder.
right,
And
the murder.
of all the times the murder's been done, they've done it so close to what has always been done, and I feel like this was an opportunity to do it a little differently.
There's a tiny twist on this one,
I do know, and I'm not talking about the twist. I'm talking about the physical scene.
Right.
They did that. There are some shots that are exactly like
Oh yeah, and
things that have been done before.
I
And
think
why
that
would
was,
you?
as
Why
Mike
would
said,
you
an
introduce
homage.
this new thing in with the exact same scene we've seen so many times?
Right.
I was very, like, oh, okay, it's the fucking same scene.
All right, Omi, you're up.
No, your opinions first.
My
I'm
opinions
going
first?
last, right?
No, you're going next.
Okay. Well, see, I know the barely basics of Batman and the origins and the whole freaking story. So when I'm sitting there watching it, I was like, hey, this is all right. I like it. And yeah, there were some, like, special effects and camera movements and some, cityscapes and some things where I questioned, but that's like the actual, that's the visuals of the show. As far as the structure, the story seems okay to me, and the characters are very interesting. So basically being a newbie to the Batman story universe deal thing, I'm very much liking what I've seen so far.
Also, I gotta add to that. I like the way they did Gotham City somewhat because it's like it's a combination of New York and Chicago and like other.
It's the worst parts of every city.
Pretty much. But you know, it is. It really
Yes, it
is.
is.
But they took
Bravo.
they took shots of New York, you know, spliced in with shots of Chicago, and they made up the rest in between. But
Yes.
it creates a very, you know, believable cityscape.
I
I'll
mean,
say that.
that's what Gotham was supposed to be. It was supposed to be the worst of New York. When the like center of New York was shitty and there was so much crime. That's what Gotham was. And it was meant to be. And they did an excellent job at laying Gotham out.
Yeah,
they
they
did. The thing that, all right, so for me, I liked and didn't like at the same time. Very, very mixed emotions on the way the cityscape is portrayed. It was kind of a cross between the old school Batman movies and the newest Batman movie spliced together. It's over dramatized and very comic booky, which is, like I said, it's not a bad thing, but there's certain pieces of it that, like, the interior of the Gotham Police Department just looked ridiculous to me. Like, no police department would ever set up the police department that way, and it was just very comic booky.
Well, I think also them having the cages right next to the desks.
Yeah.
Is also I think that's supposed to be like, this city's overrun with criminals, and there's no room to keep them downstairs anymore, and they had to shoehorn in new cells. That's what I got from that. That was like extra cells, not like the main cells.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But my biggest problem with the pilot in general is there were way too many characters crammed into this episode.
God,
right, I know.
Blew their load. It's like you have Batman's got so many villains.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it.
So many villains.
Squeeze
10 of
them all. They're
It's
talking
not just
to
that. All right, we get Harvey Bullock. We had Commissioner Gordon, or James Gordon. He's not commissioner yet, right? Then we had Bruce Wayne. We had Alfred. We had Barbara, which is going to be his Gordon's wife eventually at some point.
Who I'm sorry, and I loved all the actors and all the characters. The actress who plays Barbara, I can't fucking stand her voice.
See, I liked her.
Terrible.
I liked her. I thought she was one of the more redeeming. But then on the villain side, we had.
Go on.
We had
I know what
Fish
you're going to
Mooney.
say.
The first thing that Mike noticed about Barbara is that she has no ass.
Oh.
The first scene, she walks by, I'm like, that woman has no ass. And then the next scene, and I notice, that is a shapeless dress. And I'm like, I'm commenting on women's fashion.
Yeah. We'll go into all the people individually, but we also got a little tease of Catwoman. We got a little tease of the Riddler. We got a tease of Poison Ivy. We got a tease of the Penguin, and a potential fifth that we'll go into. But there's other characters that there's like 4 or 5 other characters that are prominent Batman villains that were not mentioned, thankfully, because there was literally no room for them. But it just felt too crowded. Focus on one. Focus on one. That's all they needed. One of the characters. Penguin, I think, was the one that they should have had, and just Penguin.
And Catwoman. I think you could have gotten away with those two.
I think we should have seen less of Catwoman. Just a glimpse of her, because the next episode, which we'll get into at the very end of the show, is a Catwoman-centric episode. So
but I
with
think
that
that's
planned,
why they sprinkled her in.
Yeah.
She didn't say anything, but she's in a bunch of different places. We get a feeling for who she is.
Right.
And I think that was just enough of Catwoman. I think while the Riddler was funny, they shoehorned him in.
He was very rushed. Very rushed.
Very. Like, it is. As when they were walking away, I was like, is that the Riddler? Yeah, it's the
As soon as they're talking to the guy, and one guy says, whatever he says, something Ed, and I went, that's the Riddler. Are you fucking kidding me? And then they go throughout the whole scene, and there's like, Nigma, you need help, and I'm like, ah!
Yeah.
I never remember his real name. So after all the questions, I was like, is that the Riddler?
The easiest way to remember his name is Enigma.
I know.
Enigma.
Enigma.
I
know.
Enigma.
I get that now.
Edward Nigma. Enigma.
I didn't remember that.
There you go. All right, so let's go through all the characters individually. Harvey Bullock. This is the first live portrayal of this actual character in Batman, the original 1989 Batman. We kind of saw with Eckert, had a lot of the same characteristics, and the same with Detective Flass in Batman Begins, but we've actually never physically seen this character. What was your take on Harvey Bullock?
I didn't like him. He's a dick. He's a dick.
You're not supposed to. He's supposed to be brash. Right. He's supposed to be like a crooked cop. So
yeah, but standard corrupt.
I didn't realize at first. I didn't realize how crooked he was. I just thought he was really bad at his job.
Are you guys in Gotham City or something? I just heard a horn.
I was about to say, what the fuck was that?
It wasn't me.
I didn't hear anything.
You got those? I heard it.
Dumb.
Clearly me.
Clearly dumb.
Clearly. Okay. Yeah, I think he was just the typical crooked cop that, you know, we've seen Batman trying to clean up the streets of, because it's not only the villains he's worried about, there's the police is crooked, and this has been a running theme in Batman since the beginning, so it's got to exist. We knew it was happening at some point.
And I mean, I can't remember, but in other iterations of Batman, it's not that the police force is crooked, it's just that they don't care. They are like
a little bit of both.
Yeah. It's kind of a little both.
But this version seems like the entire force, like a minority of the force is not involved. You know, the majority of the force is involved in this.
And even Gordon to a degree, right? We know Gordon. He's the big cop that's worked with Batman through every iteration of Batman that we've ever known. But in this one, you know, it's clearly the beginning. But we've always known Gordon to be like the loyal cop that always had his morals in check and all that. But now we're kind of seeing a little bit of a different side here. Like the Gordon that we're used to wouldn't even deface his own name in the sake of things. But in this one, what we saw at the end with the Penguin, where he faked it. Mm-hmm. And I understand why he faked it, but this is still a different iteration of the character that we haven't seen yet. What was your take on Gordon?
I don't understand what your
Gordon
wouldn't
wouldn't let his morals interfere. Like, he wouldn't have pretended in any of the other iterations to have killed the Penguin. He would not have.
Well, he sees this as a lot bigger than himself. He sees him against the entire force.
He did mention to Bruce that he had to do this from the inside, so that has a lot to do with why he pretended and why he's doing certain things to make him look like he's fitting in.
Yes. He's got nobody on his side. He has to find those who are loyal and expose those who are not.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
It happens because he becomes the commissioner eventually, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, we all know that.
That's 20 years from now.
Well, still, it happens.
You said that's 20 years from now, right? Did anybody else notice, like, that it's taking place in a somewhat modern time?
Because there was a cell
Chrissy's
phone.
face.
Yeah. Well, this is also a new Batman. They said that this is completely different from the movie universe. This is their own universe.
Yeah.
True.
It is an infant, but it was just born.
Everything, every style choice that they've picked is a little retro, a little 80s.
There's some throwbacks. Did you guys catch the Wayne Manor was actually the one from Batman Forever?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm talking about just like their clothes and how things look. Even like the police department things look like they're old, like they're from the 80s. Except for everybody has cell phones, and I'm like, wait, why are there this doesn't make sense. If they stylized it like that, why would this then be a world where you?
Yeah, as soon as Gordon flipped open his phone, my face was just.
I don't. Yeah, I just.
Gotham
can live
is on
with
like the border of Metropolis, right?
No, it's not in the same state. I don't think.
They're some distance.
They are.
They're in the same universe, but they're not in our universe. That's important to note, though. So, like, what our retro 80s style is might be their in style. So there's that way to think of it, too.
I mean, I guess, but I can live with it. I can live with the cell phones. I just don't understand the stylistic choices they made with the rest of how everything looks.
I think the clothing and all that was just to kind of go back to, like, that old mobster movie kind of feel.
Yeah.
But then put a modern twist on it. you know, so.
You know, I mean, the stylization doesn't make sense now, but it might make sense in the next few episodes, and then it becomes something that's just natural.
Right.
Because it did seem a little odd to me, too, but, I mean, I'm kind of just going with the flow and hoping that it gets better from now.
Right. And then we had Barbara Keene, soon to be Barbara Gordon. Besides her flat ass, what were you guys' impressions on her?
I don't know. Her acting.
See, I found her to be one of the more interesting characters too, because she's kind of like, Gordon's is all prim and proper, and he's got like all these morals to him, but Barbara's got like this deep secret, which we don't know what it is yet, and I'm very curious how that's gonna play out versus Commissioner or Gordon, I should say. I can't call him Commissioner.
You can't not call him Commish. But everything you said keys into her character and not her acting. Her acting is gross.
It is pretty horrible.
I'm having a hard time listening to her.
And, I mean, you say deep, dark secret. Well, we know that she has some connection with the Force, the MCU, so that could possibly lead into that as far as the secret goes.
I don't understand the relationship between Major Crimes and the detectives. Are they separate?
Yeah, separate units.
Help me out.
Separate units, but there's some connection to a degree other than this little back and forth feud. There's something else that we don't know about.
Do they work does Major Crimes work in the same building? Are they?
I don't think so. I think they're their own.
Federal?
I think different floors of the same building, but... I mean... Yeah, you have a police precinct, you separate floors, usually. But
I was under the impression that they were working out of City Hall. Because that's where we saw them.
Well, cops tend to go to City Hall a lot.
Yeah, that's true, too.
They do.
Especially I would assume especially working with major crimes.
Yeah.
That go to court.
So, I'm interested in her. How long do you think she's going to hold on to this secret that she has?
It's not that she's going to hold on to it. It's when Gordon finds out.
It's true, too.
What it is.
Yeah.
How long do you think before we know?
Episodes.
Half a dozen episodes.
Yeah.
Maybe the whole season. Who knows?
This season is going to be 13 episodes. No, 16 episodes? 16.
Okay.
Oh, good.
So, yeah.
So it would be 4th or 5th episode.
Yeah.
That seems about right.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't think we're going to see them getting married for at least a few seasons.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I like my seasons compact.
Yes, me too.
Yes.
I think 22 is kind of on the borderline of being too much, and I think 16 is a sweet number. So
16 is a sweet number.
Certain shows actually do well at 12, 13, like a mini-series, like American Horror Story. I think it fits there, but for a show that's going to be continuing on, like American Horror Story is different every year. For a show that carries on, I think 16 might actually be a sweet number for them.
Yeah.
So
something around there.
They said that there might be more next season, but for their test run, they said 16 felt like the good number.
Yeah, that is a good number.
Then we get to meet some of the crime lords. We know Carmen Falcone, which was very prominent in the Batman Begins and that whole universe. He's a big character in the comic books, too.
Isn't he more in Batman the Animated Series?
He's also, he's in the animated series as well. I don't know if in any of those versions if he knew Gordon's father. I know that was something that they brought up here. And I like the fact that he plays by a certain set of rules. Like, I thought that was really good on him.
He's a crime lord with rules?
He's a crime lord with morals, yeah.
Yes. Well, not morals, but laws.
He has laws set down.
There needs to be order for organized crime. I do like that they're doing that with him. He's not just
I like that too.
Thug.
Very, very interesting, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then we see under him, we have Fish Mooney, which is a brand new character. It's in no other version of Batman anywhere. This is an original character for the TV series. I think it might possibly be a replacement for Lumox, which, if you're not familiar with that, we'll get into that in a little bit. But that's kind of my speculation. But what did you guys think of this new character?
I think she's cool.
I love her.
But
love her.
If you clearly she chose this name, not born with it. If you could choose any name in the entire world, why the hell would your name be Fish Monet? Also, why would you not spell it with a PH? Come on. I think that's a missed opportunity.
Maybe she really
PH.
wanted to be remembered, and that was the most ridiculous name she could come up with, and now nobody does not know
Yes,
her.
but take it that one step further. Spell it PHISH.
Maybe it's a
Well,
nickname.
then the
given
penguin
to her
wouldn't wanna
years
eat her.
ago.
The thing is, when you're telling someone your name, you don't go Fish Mooney with a PH.
No, but it's all about how when you write it out. You know, when you write it out.
Maybe it was a nickname from years ago someone gave to her.
Possibly.
I know. I'm just teasing. I just think
Like,
it's
You know, people in the military get nicknames that stick with them throughout their careers.
I just think it's ridiculous. You should have gone that one step further.
It took me a couple looks to get who the actress was for Fish, and as soon as I realized it was Jada, I was like, I love you so much.
I heard them say that it was her. John told me it was her. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not her.
Wasn't that Mike's reaction too?
Oh, I knew it was her immediately.
Okay.
By that ass, right?
No, but you didn't even see her ass.
I'm pretty sure there was a couple scenes where her ass was visible, but you probably weren't noticing that.
I wasn't paying attention.
No,
No.
you weren't.
Nope.
You're probably
I
still
mean-
stuck on frickin' Barbara's ass because there's nothing there. You were
Yeah.
perplexed.
I'm sorry. She walked by, and for some reason, the emphasis, what drew my eye, was the center of the screen, and just
Emphasis on the crater that is her ass.
it wasn't a crater. It was just, woo.
She has an inverted ass. What can I say?
Inverted.
It
Oh,
wasn't inverted. It wasn't. It was neither or eh. It was just.
I'm glad that the brunt of this podcast we're spending on Barbara Keene's ass.
Barbara's ass.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Um,
I'm picking on Mike.
Okay, so
I know.
It's been a while since we've been on a podcast together. I have to pick on him.
hey, at least it's not me.
Hey,
Um,
I deserve it.
Got that
So-
on my system last week.
Yes. So for the actual Batman villains, the main villains or whatever, we're introduced very first to Catwoman, and like I said, the little twist that we had before on the Wayne murder was that Catwoman witnessed the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was new and original. That was kind of interesting, and where it led, because you get to see her kind of tail Bruce the whole time.
Yeah.
But they also introduce her as like a petty thief.
Yeah.
So-
Pickpocket.
There's a meme going around that I've already seen that shows a picture of Catwoman, and it's like, said nothing the whole movie, still a better Catwoman than, what was it, Halle Berry? As
Well,
a-
that's
Yeah.
not
True,
this
though.
Catwoman. Halle
Yeah.
Berry played it different. That
no, I
wasn't
know,
Yeah.
but it's still true. It's still a better Catwoman than Halle Berry. I'm sorry. Sorry, Halle.
And she did something very important. She stole some milk.
She did. She stole some milk.
For a kitty.
Yeah.
For the kitty cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She wouldn't be Catwoman if she wasn't feeding the cats.
Yeah, and like as much as I enjoyed, I loved like her movements, everything, and I know the actress sat there and actually studied her own cat. She didn't look at any of the other Catwoman for her role. She watched her cat
Good.
to learn how to play this character.
Good.
So
Okay.
just knowing that alone, it makes me love the character even more. Because
Josie, come here. I need to study for a role.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm gonna study my cat.
I'm waiting for the first time she gets cut. If she starts licking her wounds, I'm waiting.
I bet.
It'll be great.
There's been iterations of Catwoman with licked her wounds.
Yeah, definitely.
Literally.
Yeah. Then, as we mentioned before, we saw the Riddler, we saw Edward Nygma, but he's working for the police station, which is not different than the comics. That has happened in the comics, but as
He's
a
a-
coroner? Like,
No, he looked like he was a crime scene tech.
no, he's a coroner.
Oh, he was the coroner. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Interesting.
So, and that's what it officially says in his bio on the
I thought
TV
he
site
was
too.
working
Oh.
for the lab.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I thought he was doing something because he gives the ballistics analysis practically of the friggin' bullet.
right. So maybe he's slowly working his way up the ranks, or maybe they're just giving us false information for the show synopsis. But I would much rather see him be a crime scene analyst or some kind of lab tech or something, because coroner just does not fit Edward Nygma. I'm sorry.
They also shoehorned in the riddles reference. Like, he's like, so do you know what kind of gun? It's like, enough with the riddles. It's like, No, that was a question.
Yeah,
He's asking
yeah.
you a trivia question. That's not a riddle.
But you have to think of who said that. Harvey Bullock. I mean,
You're
Bullock, you're an idiot.
he's kind of a
Yeah.
dip.
Bullock's hardly paying
dip.
attention anyway.
Yeah.
True. He's a dip.
Oh, wait, was he drinking Pepto-Bismol out of the bottle while putting whiskey in his coffee?
It looked like it. Oh
At the diner. He had like a blue bottle.
Oh, I thought it was pink. I thought he had a bottle of Pepto.
No, it was a blue bottle. I think I don't know, maybe they had a
Colors.
legal issue using pink, but I was like, is that a bottle of Pepto?
It was milk of magnesia.
Totally have to go back and watch that now.
Yeah.
Because he takes out the bottle, then he pours the whiskey into his coffee, and then he just starts drinking straight out of like the medicine bottle.
Yeah.
I think
I think if they were gonna shoehorn Riddler in there, though, that they could have just called him Ed. They didn't even have to say his last name.
Yeah.
Just called him Ed. You have plenty of time to develop these characters. At least you're established that this character was there in the beginning. And you don't need to do any more than that. Everybody would assume Ed is going to be Edward and kind of that because he's got a reputation in the past for working with the police force. I think that's all they need to leave it at. That's as much as we needed to know.
So yeah, that's it. That's all you needed.
Riddler, out of all of them, was the one that you could have done without introducing this episode.
Yeah.
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 The other one that I think you could have done without introducing was Poison Ivy. Right?
Her
And
name
I
is
would say
Pamela
yes.
Isley,
Yes.
not fucking Ivy, whatever her last name is.
Pepper.
I
Ivy
would
Pepper.
say yes, but they seem to want to tie his death in with the Wayne's death. So
They did it as a frame job, and they solved that already in the first
No.
episode.
I know. Well, they didn't really solve it.
Well, they solved
Well-
the fact that it was a frame job. They know
Yes,
that much, so
but-
they cleared his name already.
Yeah.
They killed him off,
Well, they
cleared
did
his name.
really-
They scarred Ivy. Like
Exactly. That's why but they wanted to do it this specific way. For whatever reason.
I still think that's something that didn't need to
I
be done
think-
in the first episode.
I
You know
know,
what?
but since the Waynes were murdered in this episode, they needed to tie her animosity to Bruce.
Nobody solved shit because the Penguin was the one who snitched on the whole frame job thing. It was
did.
the
Fish
Penguin.
solved it. Fish knew.
Yes,
Eat
this
his
is true.
ass. With a chair.
Yeah, she solved that he told, but
Yeah.
Fish was in it from the very beginning, and Penguin was the one that told the MCU that it was Fish.
Yeah.
So they didn't really solve anything. It was just kind of like, oh well, secondhand knowledge.
Well, Penguin's the one who said, Fish and the police, and the MCU winds up going after the cops instead of,
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
because they're working with what's his face, Carmine.
Yeah.
Falcone.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Penguin was, I think,
Yes.
the most prominent of the villains. I think he belonged there more than anybody. But at the same time, he's very different than we've ever seen him before. Most iterations of the Penguin are him being some deformed creature that lives
Short
in a
and
sewer,
stubby.
and But then we have the TV show Batman, the original, the Adam West Batman TV series, where he kind of was actually a cross between that and the Danny DeVito Batman Returns Penguin. He was somewhat of a mixture of those two. The nickname Penguin I thought was ridiculous. Like
It
just
didn't make
felt
sense in
weird.
the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, you don't
makes
really
sense
see
now
him
that
hobble
he's-
around.
It makes sense now that he's got a gimp leg, but
Right.
it didn't make sense in the beginning.
Yeah, they're just
Right.
all right, Penguin, and he's like, "Don't call me that." Like he gets all bent out of shape. Like, just call him Cobblepot. That's all you need to do. Like, that's his name. Just whatever.
Well,
Oswald
I think
Cobblepot.
I think his hatred for the name the Penguin is what's gonna
Fuel it. Yeah.
fuel the rest of his transformation to the Penguin.
We will get an origin episode that is mainly about the Penguin, and then we'll find out why.
Right.
Why he has that nickname.
It
and
just
then it'll make
seemed
sense.
so out of place.
No,
right
I know,
now.
but exactly. It
That,
just didn't make
that's
sense.
like that's really everything we just talked about. There is basically my major gripe with the series. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I think this show's got a lot of potential, and I can't wait to see where it goes. But I just felt with introducing this many characters, it was too crammed. There's potentially that's what Catwoman, Riddler, Poison Ivy, Penguin. That's 4 major villains outside of the mob bosses, right?
Yeah.
There was potentially a 5th one in there, which is the comedian that we see in the nightclub.
Yes.
Which I'm pretty sure at this point is the Joker.
Nice.
So, I mean,
Possibly.
Kind of dark humor with him.
yeah.
Yeah. The dark
And
humor.
it already set up, Fish was like, yeah, I like you. And he was just, he looked too awkward, like, up on the stage. Like,
Yeah.
there was more to him than what we saw, and that's what leads me to believe that he's going to be the Joker.
Yeah.
Which I find weird, because outside of, I don't know, we've never really had an origin story for the Joker. It's always, like, been this big mystery. Even in the comics, it's changed so many times. The live action, the Michael Keaton Batman, you know, his name was Jack something, I don't remember. Jack Napier something. And they kind of gave an origin. He fell in a bucket of acid and something, and it was really weird. A vat of some kind of acid, and it dyed his skin, and he had this stupid grin on his face, and like that was his origin story, whatever. But I kind of liked every iteration after that where there was no origin for the Joker, and I think it made the character that much stronger. So
my Joker is Mark Hamill. Forever.
Yeah,
and
I
always.
agree. Perfect voice for the Joker.
I know it's on that list of overrated. I still think Heath Ledger was the best Joker ever.
No,
You know what?
very good.
He was very good.
He was very good live action wise, but Mark Hamill, I just
He's got that laugh. I love that laugh.
God.
There was a,
Mark
there was
Hamill does that laugh, and I get chill.
There was a convention where he was being interviewed, and one of the fan questions was to act out, you know, lines from Star Wars as, you know, Darth Vader, except as the Joker.
You mean
And
Luke Skywalker?
No.
No, they
He
made him
was
do.
They made
Vader.
him act out the conversation between Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker,
okay.
except between the Joker and Luke Skywalker.
Okay.
It was amazing.
I'm gonna have to go check that
Sounds
out.
amazing.
Because he just goes from his normal voice straight to Joker voice, like, bam.
Yeah. I don't know. As John says in chat, giving an origin story for the Joker is risky. So
Yep.
I'm a little worried on it. I am. So I'm hoping that doesn't turn out. I hope that ends up being like the Scarecrow or something. I hope it's like they throw us into left field, because I don't like an origin story for the Joker. But then again, can you do some iteration of Batman without the Joker? I don't think you can. So
No,
I think
you cannot.
I think they're forced to give him an origin story.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to introduce him now, because the
No.
Batman's not going
Right.
to be around for years.
Right. This
So
is
he
kind of
cannot
like
be part of a Gordon story, but
right. This is kind of
about
like the
later.
Smallville of Batman. Right. It's
Except not
the
terrible.
leading up
Well,
to
who
Superman.
knows?
This
Maybe.
is leading up to Batman.
Yeah.
Smallville had a couple good episodes.
It did.
No, I
No, I
agree,
like Smallville.
but it still made me mad.
There's a lot
Yeah.
wrong with Smallville, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot of that same kind of stuff in Gotham, just because of how they're
What it
messing
is.
around with things.
Yeah.
But outside of those, the other big villains that we are told that we're getting in this show, that doesn't necessarily mean this season, but we're told we're going to get origin for the Scarecrow, Hugo Strange, Harvey Dent, and Mr. Freeze.
Mr.
So,
Freeze.
He's
I'm
not Arnold
worried.
Schwarzenegger. I'm going to stop watching.
God.
I agree.
just
That was
gonna
the
say
only
that.
good part of.
It
only
was
good
so
part of
bad that it was good, though.
I know.
Yep.
You know what would have
But-
been better?
But listen,
I'm sorry, I have to say this.
Go,
I
go,
read
go.
somewhere that they had already greenlit a third Batman movie, assuming Batman and Robin would do good, and that the villains would have been
Scarecrow was one of them.
Scarecrow and someone else, and Nicolas Cage would have played Scarecrow.
Yeah, that was supposed to happen.
Oh God.
That was supposed to happen.
yes.
So if you thought Mr. Freeze was, you know, Schwarzenegger was a good Mr. Freeze, imagine Nick Cage as Scarecrow.
No.
I want to see that now.
It's not happening.
It never happened. Batman and
God,
Robin flopped,
I'm
so
glad
they
it
just said,
didn't
fuck
happen.
that.
I know.
I am so glad that didn't happen.
All right. So
I'm just worried that they're going to cram all these into the first season, and then we're just going to be left with like, all right,
Yeah.
we thought you blew your load in the first episode, but now you've really done it.
yeah, I see that. I came out of this episode thinking they took themselves too seriously. And that's what I hope the rest of the season doesn't do, because my brain comes back to Arrow. Arrow knows exactly what it is. It does not take itself seriously at all. It is
Another-
cheesy as fuck, and it knows it.
Another great example of that exact formula was Warehouse 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially as the
and
show
Arrow
went on.
knows what it is. I'm afraid that Gotham is going to get into a territory where they take something seriously that is just ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Maybe they're, blowing their serious load right now, and then all the ridiculousness will come out in the next few episodes.
Maybe.
Right. What do you guys think about Ra's al Ghul? Like, he was introduced for the public, the mainstream kind of movie. Batman fans learned about him from that movie, but he was very prominent in the comics. Do you think Ra's al Ghul is going to be a character we see at some point in the show? I don't think this season, but
I don't think so, because Ra's al Ghul, while we haven't seen him, is in Arrow.
Oh.
We've never seen him, but he's mentioned. The League of Assassins is in Arrow. I don't think they're gonna bridge that divide.
Well, being that it's two broadcasting companies doing these shows, there's probably no cross ever.
Yeah, because Arrow is CW, this is Fox. So.
Yeah, and I think that DC is gonna be like, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold the phone.
Let's not bridge this yet.
Yeah.
Could be.
Wait for it to get good. Like get momentum.
The other thing I wanted to touch about, we kind of already discussed, was the murder of Thomas and Martha Wayne. Right? In the comic books, there's 3 different versions of who the murderer was. So we've already established that we've seen this. There's actually a video online that shows all the murders of Batman in one video, and it's just like, really? Like, this popped up online yesterday, I saw it. It was a little ridiculous, and they're all very similar.
Yeah, I think that's why that video popped up, because there's this chance to do it differently, and they didn't.
Right.
Yep.
So the 3 different versions of who the murderer are in the comics is some guy named Joe Chill, who actually has no goal whatsoever, and he's just trying to get money. It was just a random robbery.
It was a mugging.
Yep. So there was no plot, no story, no nothing to that. I'm pretty sure that's not the route they're going with, since they've already kind of explored this in depth, and it seems like an inside job of some sort. The second one, which seems more likely here, was still Joe Chill, but he was hired by mob boss Lou Mox, which is what I think is the replacement Fish Mooney. Could be Lou Mox in this particular situation, because Lou Mox had a vendetta between him and Thomas Wayne. So if Lou Mox is replaced with Fish Mooney, and Fish Mooney has some kind of vendetta with the Waynes, and that starts coming out, then it was probably a frame job involving Fish Mooney, which we're already suspect of as it is, because she had the fake pearl necklace.
Yeah.
But yeah, the third version was a random mugger that was never identified.
Yeah. That's the version I am most familiar with, and I think they've used it.
I think that's the only version I know of.
More times than not.
Right.
Is that it's random.
Yep.
You never find him, and that's what propels Bruce into becoming Batman.
Right.
To make sure that never happens again.
Now, unfortunately, it seems like that this mystery is the glue that is holding the show together right now.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Like, it involved Catwoman. It involves Bruce. It involves Commissioner Gordon. It involves the 2 mob bosses, Carmine Falcone and Fish Mooney. It involved Poison Ivy. Right? To a degree, it involved Penguin, because he started ratting out in the middle of this, and it could have had something to do with that murder. We don't quite know yet. We know Edward Nygma was now tied into this because he did ballistics or whatever it was on this.
Yeah.
All these characters have crossed paths because of this murder. They're all connected because of this murder, which might be a reason why they threw so many at us at the same time. But this still could have been something that they revealed later and gone back and been like, oh, look, here's Catwoman watching the murder. They didn't necessarily need to show it in the first episode.
True.
But,
yeah,
maybe they just wanted to establish that right off the bat. I think that was the wrong way to go about it. But it just seems like that this is the motive of the show now. Like, how long do you think this mugger is going to be a secret? Do you think it's going to be infinite? We never find out in this series? Or do you think it's going to be something that's wrapped up in the first season or even the final episode of the last season?
The way they've introduced the murderer is, and how they've revealed all this corruption, is that I actually think it's someone in the police department. Whether Fish hired them or why they did it, doesn't matter. But I think that the murder is a catalyst to fixing Gotham. So whether the murder is solved in this season or not, it's gonna get solved.
Eventually.
Which will then propel to clean up Gotham and start the whole pre-Batman process.
Yeah.
Pre-Batman.
It's gonna get people to want to clean up Gotham.
Yeah.
Or just Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, well, he's the first.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything else for this episode that you guys wanted to discuss?
I want to apologize. I know I have a lot of feelings, and I may have come off negative. I do think there's a lot of potential. While I was upset, I did enjoy this episode. So
I enjoyed it too, and like I said at the beginning, I'm reserving judgment for 3 or 4 episodes from now.
Yes.
Well,
I'm trying.
Gotta give it its
enjoyed
chance.
it. I enjoyed it because I know pretty much absolutely shit all about Batman and everything else Batman. So
And
it was like a whole new story to me. So yeah, they did throw a lot at us, and there was this. The stylization is a little bit funky, but as far as it goes, it's making great moves with me. I like it.
And it's just, my problem isn't all the Batman stuff and all the establishing. It's that the plot was so predictable, and it made me be like, that's what's gonna happen. And when it happened, it was like, I think that's the thing that stood out to me as making me angry.
Right.
Sorry, Dom.
And I just want to point out too, some people in chat, Adrian is saying the person who murdered them is the Joker as a teenager. Dun dun dun. That very well could be.
He was a big teenager then.
He's fat.
Or it could be his father, or it could be somebody related to him. But if that was the Joker in the nightclub, right? Let's assume that was him there. He's now also still tied into the murder of the Waynes, because he was there when the Penguin got beat for ratting out because of this, and
yeah, he heard everything.
So he was sitting there watching and listening, like he was paying attention.
And the guy wasn't given a name at all.
Right.
No.
And in most incarnations, the Joker is never given a name.
Right.
He's the Joker.
Yep.
So-
Actually, before I move on, there's 2 characters that I didn't talk about, which they seem too obvious. I think that's why I forgot them. Bruce.
Alfred and Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, Bruce and Alfred.
Oh yeah.
So, we'll start with Alfred, actually, because Alfred was kind of a badass in this movie. And
I loved him.
this TV series.
I loved how he yelled at Bruce when Bruce was just up on the roof, and he's like, "Get down, you little shit! Get down!" And I'm like, "Yes, show him, Alfred."
Yeah.
He's more like the comic book Alfred
He
than
is.
any other on-screen adaptation we've seen yet.
Usually we're used to Alfred coddling Bruce, and like he's a 30-year-old grown man, and Alfred's giving him a warm milk bottle. Like
Right. Alfred was always the overprotective butler, but he's the overprotective badass butler.
Yeah.
Got to remember that. There's badass in there.
I think this
Alfred.
This Alfred. I think
This
this Alfred is
butler.
very similar to Michael Caine's Alfred. This
Yeah.
Alfred is a lot brasher, I think, though. He's
Yeah.
very...
Yeah. It's good. Nice
He
choice
He has a little sass.
for movie-wise.
But
It does.
yes, he's got that same sass as
Got the
Michael
sass.
Caine, although Michael Caine was soft around the edges.
Indeed.
This one, we've just seen the... Stiff upper lip, your parents just got murdered.
Yeah. So he's pretty much like the father from Mary Poppins. So
Thanks.
Mr. Banks.
No, Mr. Banks is just no, he's totally not that.
No.
No.
Oh, that's how I remember him. I haven't watched Mary Poppins in a long time. I just remember him being a very stern, strict man.
He is stern and strict, but he would never yell at his kids and tell them they get the F down off the roof and stuff.
If
Yeah.
it wasn't a Disney movie, he might have.
He probably wouldn't have noticed because he's too busy with his job.
This is
Gotta
true.
fall off the roof, you little shits.
But
Perfect Disney movie quote.
But Bruce, like, we're used to seeing flashbacks of Bruce, especially from the old movies and stuff like that. But instead of focusing on the relationship between Bruce and Alfred, which we're used to, they focused on the relationship between Bruce and Gordon. See, I didn't say Commissioner this time. Oops. So I thought that dynamic was very interesting.
Yes. And I mean, at least what I'm used to, is the meeting on a roof with Gordon. Gordon looks away and Batman's gone. Like, that's the relationship that I'm used to seeing. So this is nice. Although, John mentioned it earlier, Gordon doesn't know how to actually talk to children.
No, he does
no
not.
idea.
He does not. I mean, at least his actions are better than Catwoman, who's stalking a little boy, and it's just kind of creepy.
Well, she's also little. She's like
this is
12.
True. This is true.
So
she's like 12, 14, something in that range there, and yeah.
She's still turning into a creepy stalker.
Well, that's what she is.
I know.
Cats stalk their prey.
So
they
Pray,
stalk a lot of
really?
things.
Pray? That just no, Michael.
Yes. Speaking of Catwoman, next episode, season 1, episode 2, is called Selena Kyle. It'll be, from what my assumptions, it's going to be a Catwoman-centric episode, but it's not going to focus only on her, because the very short synopsis that we have says the Penguin shows up in the countryside and begins making his way back to the city.
By murdering everyone.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I'm going to wash up on shore, cut this guy's throat, and steal his sandwich.
I think that's the start of his stubbiness. He's gonna he's so ravenous right now. He's gonna eat.
He suddenly has an eating. Now he emerges from the river with an eating disorder.
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
I don't know if you saw the trailer for the next episode.
I did not.
Did not.
It shows him hobbling down the side of a road. So his broken leg, that fish broke.
Yeah.
It's not gonna set properly.
No.
He is going to be crippled.
Yeah.
Hobble, 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 hobble.
He's actually, to me, the most interesting character on the show right now.
I agree.
Yeah, so far he's definitely the one given the most. I don't know.
He's got a lot of FaceTime in the.
Yeah, he does too.
I think they're pushing that too, because Penguin was always like, Joker is probably the most well known of the rivals, but Penguin has really been up there too. He's a very close second. I actually, in my opinion, and because I grew up more with the original series, and I know he was very limited in the original TV series.
The Adam West?
Yeah. He was, I think even like the first season, he was only in a handful of episodes. Or maybe that was the Riddler I'm thinking of. Yeah, I think it was the Riddler was only in a handful. But the Penguin seemed like the prominent character in that. Even more so than the Joker. That's the way I remember it. I don't know for sure, because it's been 20-something years since I've seen an episode of that. But every episode I could remember off the top of my head, had the Penguin in it. And the Penguin was teamed up with the Joker, or the Penguin was teamed up with the Riddler. Like, it was Penguin and somebody.
You're right. In the original series, there was a lot of the Penguin.
Yeah.
Well, considering that he got so much FaceTime in this episode, do you think he's going to be the first true villain that they have to deal with?
Well, I think Fish. She's already the villain they're dealing with.
Yeah.
I think Penguin's going to come in.
Yeah.
And give her hell.
But correct me if I'm wrong. In the comics, wasn't technically the first villain the Scarecrow? I think he was the first official villain, and I think it just never, like, other than like street thugs and that kind of thing. I think the Scarecrow was the first like superhuman weird villain.
This is like a different universe. They said they want to separate themselves from every other iteration. So
right, but they did say we will be seeing origins of the Scarecrow. So
yes. I hope it's not too soon, because we already have a lot of characters we need to see more of.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so I think that about wraps this show up. So, Umi, where can the people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at LadyVenom24, LadyVenom24.
Excellent. Mike, where can the people find you?
Also on Twitter at Thilladren, THILLADREN.
Nice. Clio, where can the people find you?
They can find me at Clio Moto on almost all social medias, and you can find me on Twitch at the Clio Moto.
Nice. You can find me down below at Phenomadom. PHENOME DOM.
Phenomenon.
Do 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 do.
You can
Mike
also,
started singing it first.
You can
I
also
started
find
humming
all
it.
of us.
She heard it.
You can also find all of us on Twitter, Facebook, Gmail, G+, and right here on YouTube/ASOTV podcast for some more podcasts for some of your favorite TV shows.
That's good music, guys.
I know.
Yeah.
And until next
amazing.
week. See you guys later.
We are fucking weird.
We are
I don't
so
even
weird.
hear the music.
Neither
do I, but I'm dancing anyways.
Fly a kite.
Thank God I'm not the only one who got that stuck in my head when we were talking about Mary Poppins.
I'm never gonna look at kites the same way.